Welcome to Quora Anonymous. If this is your first time and you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you would like to read along, turn on closed captioning with the 3 dots in the upper right corner. Now, let's begin. How do baby boomers feel about the OK Boomer meme? In a word, irritated. It's not the word "boomer" itself. It's the fact that we humans have such an evil need to label others as a means of gross prejudice and discrimination. My experience. I'm at the tail end of the whole "baby boom" generation, a product of my father making a quick weekend trip home from an army assignment. So, I graduated from college just a handful of years behind a big wave of graduates gobbling up whatever jobs could be found. I settled. It does not take long to get hungry, so my first couple of post-graduation jobs did not even need a college degree. Things did get better job-wise, but I could not get into management because there were never any openings for us younger boomers. Am I Winnie Point, or am I just not qualified? What is wrong with me? Fast forward into my 40s. Changed careers, upgraded the education, and got a manuscript degree. Yep, got promoted, twice. Happy enough with that, but now I find that many of my younger millennial associates get managerial jobs with almost zero experience because they work for cheaper, or know someone who knows someone. And, I'm considered to be out of touch, because I'm a boomer. I'm accused of being selfish, because I don't retire, and make room for someone younger to take my job. Yeah, that is irritating. You want my job? Earn it. But don't complain if you find it to require more effort and finesse than you thought. It's dismissive based on age. The problem is that there are no structural characteristics of society based on so-called generations. Terms like millennial, baby boomer and so on are marketing terms that are arbitrarily defined. They are arbitrarily defined since the age boundaries are totally arbitrary. And since they do not pick out structural features of the society, they can't explain anything. For example, people in their 60s and in their 20s include members of the 1%, the capitalist elite, and homeless people or poor people living in trailers. They include black people and whites, native-born and immigrants from Africa or Mexico. They include men and women, LGBT and straight. This means that the terms both include people with significant wealth and power, and a much larger number of people who have no power at all. So the term boomer includes people like Trump, and the white Republican far-right loonies as well as revolutionary socialists. The term includes people who've worked all their life to build up business empires based on exploitation of labor, and active worker unionists who have fought them all along. Changes in the USA over the past half-century explain why the working class faces far worse economic circumstances than in the 50s and 60s. The way to explain these changes is not via age, but via an understanding of what the capitalist elite have fought to bring about since the 1970s and the beginning of the neoliberal era: cut taxes for the rich, eliminate unions, privatize schooling, vastly ramp up college costs, eliminate free or low-cost college, and so on. These changes the elite have fought for all along have had disastrous effects on the younger generations of working class people, but on working class boomers as well. This explains why generational politics are dumb. As one recent piece put it, older workers and retirees are struggling to survive. They need solidarity, not rich kids shouting "OK boomer" at them. Wow, a younger generation is on the case of an older generation. Stop the presses, as we used to say. Seriously, though, I was chatting with a millennial about this just last week. His example of a killer OK boomer was that Social Security is going bankrupt. I told him, 1, it's not really, and 2, there is a simple fix for the shortfall: remove the contribution ceiling. So he asked why the fix hadn't been implemented, and then left before I could point out that killing Social Security has been a multi-generational effort by Republicans since before I was born, not a thing boomers as a group did or are doing. So I'm going to go on ignoring OK boomer, especially the variants that claim that most boomers are right-wing. I've never seen any reliable statistics on that, but it certainly wasn't the case among boomers I knew when I was growing up, and it isn't the case among boomers I know now. Granted, the right-wing boomers, like right-wing Christians, are pretty loud and obnoxious about it, which may make them seem more common than they are. But they aren't the whole or even the major part of my generation or my religion. Now, we boomers as a class have always been arrogant. Hey, as teenagers we told our parents that they didn't know what they were talking about. And we claimed that in this we are different from every other generation in the history of the world. Yep, that latter part is certainly arrogant. My own view, for what it's worth, is that millennials have a chance of carrying through the sorts of changes that my friends and I thought our generation was succeeding at, but that were rolled back or outright killed under Reagan. He was not a boomer, guys. Looking back, Reagan started so much that has come to fruition under Trump, who is really a result, rather than the cause, of where the Republican Party is at. So more power to the millennials. I'd imagine they'd be offended if they knew about it. Either that or they wouldn't care, any more than younger generations care about boomer opinions. I mean, let's be honest, the generation gap is nothing new. Kids blame their suffering parents for all their problems. Parents look down on their hard-working kids as lazy and undisciplined, etc. In terms of this specific meme, it's not really something said to boomers. Normally, you'd say okay, boomer to a like-minded peer in private company, as a pejorative, good-humored or otherwise. A boomer shouldn't really encounter the term in their day-to-day, but if they encountered it on the news, in a paper, magazine, or internet website, they may take offense. Or they may chuckle, say something under their breath about kids, and move on. Or, they may agree their generation has it coming. Boomers are a very diverse, very large age group, running the range of political ideology, so it really depends on the boomer. Gen Z here. After all the ridiculous mocking that millennials have gotten, I'm glad to see the okay boomer thing happen. Every single one of the supposed shortcomings of millennial would be due to their parenting, something they had no control over, but boomers and Gen Zs did. They are literally blaming and mocking, after years of telling their kids not to bully millennial for what would be their own shortcomings as parents. The stupidest thing about all the millennial mocking is that none of it is true. Millennial grew up into a world that is considerably less prosperous and less friendly to young people than it has been in generations, largely because of the actions of the generations that preceded them. Sure, some whine and are lazy, as it was in every generation, but most have found ways to be productive and happy outside of the narrow track that generations before have criticized them for abandoning because they had to. They're surviving in the shit show of an economy that was laid at their feet by boomers, and they found ways to survive and prosper. And what do they get for it? Mocking by the very generation that should be commending them on how well they've done with the crap hand they were dealt. So the only real reply left is dismissal. Okay boomer. If you made it this far, you owe it to yourself to subscribe.